And then when the temperature got cold again, he'd get in a jam. So I don't know why he did this, but he goes back to 1926 when they actually lit fires under in Montana, what it's really called, under the engine, the transmission, and differential, and they'd pull it with a team of horses to get it started. But after that, they started to put light bulbs. In the 50s and early 60s, this was common. You put a 150-watt light bulb under the hood, and it would start pretty good because you got a lot of hot air, and the hot air is going to the carburetor and everything. He decides he's going to put a 150. Now, he'd just plug in the thing. He wouldn't have to put a 150-watt light bulb in there. But so he puts a 150-watt light bulb in there. I get a call. Son, the car doesn't start. So I'm like, all right, now he's missing a day of work, so I have to go down there. So the air cleaners in these cars were plastic, right? So I get down there, and he put a 150-watt light bulb on top of the plastic intake manifold, and burnt like a hole, like this big. I'm not kidding you. This big. He's lucky he didn't start the car on fire in the intake manifold. I'm like, so I take the intake manifold off, and I know that Fairlawn Volkswagen, or whatever that place was over there on 208, who's going to stock this manifold? There's nothing that can possibly go wrong with this manifold. It's plastic, it bolts to metal, so I know they're not going to have one, and it's going to be coming from their parts distribution center somewhere. So I go in there, and the guy's there, and I go, I know you don't have a manifold for this, whatever year diesel it was. Can you order one? Well, what went wrong with that one? I said, well, do you have a father? And the guy goes, ah! So I took the manifold off, and then when I went to pick up the other one, I had to wait a couple days. And I showed a guy, he's like, he didn't say a word, because everybody's got a father, so nobody said a word on that, but there's just a gigantic hole in the thing. So I'm like, and did he ever still plug it in? Nope. I'd have to go down there at night, plug it in, and then there was a switch by the front door. My mother would turn on the switch after he would go to bed because he wouldn't even turn the switch on. So I'm like, oh my God. So here it is. I'm coming back from somewhere. It's August. It's a perfect day, right? So, I see green on the driveway underneath the VW. So I'm like, Dad, you need a water pump in this. I'm going to come by tomorrow and get a water pump, put a water pump in. Son, we don't need that. So when does the water pump decide to go? February, when it's like 20 below out. So I'm like, okay, no problem. The Volkswagen Rabbit fit in the garage, so it was pretty easy to work around. Small car and a small garage, but it had plenty of room to work. So I get a kerosene heater from work, one of those torpedo heaters, and it was pretty cold out. So we're working in the garage in our shirt sleeves, and it's comfortable, right? For like 15 minutes, my mother comes out. I can smell that in the house. It's getting in my curtains. Oh, fucking curtains, right? So that's the end of that. So that was at like 9 o'clock in the morning. And the Volkswagen gave you 8 or 9 hours to replace the water pump because all the air conditioning compressor, all the mounting brackets, everything had to come out. So I think that's how much time they gave you. So I was working with air tools at the time. So 4 or 5 o'clock, we're buttoning it back up. And my mother comes in the garage, and there's a garage door, into the house in the garage. And so she's like, dinner will be ready in a couple minutes. So famous words to her were, call me when it's on the table, because heaven forbid you waste a minute doing anything, right? So she comes out again, and so she goes, what have you guys been doing out here all day? And meanwhile, he's got 87,000 pounds of clothes on, and is not gonna, if I'm out there, he's going to be out there, right? Old school guy, right? So So he goes, oh, we're putting in a water pump. So she closes the door again. A couple of minutes later, she comes back out and she goes, Phil, isn't that the thing he told you should have put in August? Up goes the garage door. He's gone for like 15 minutes walking around the block because he's so pissed off. Oh, I'm in there finishing all up. Garage door opens again and he looks at me and goes, son, you know, I love your mother very much, but sometimes she's just too much. Like, why don't you listen, man? Just listen. So, that was a couple stories, and I hope, Claude, that you appreciate this because it'll make you feel better about your father putting that shitty gasoline in a Mercedes. And poor Ernie Thiel, special tech, having to figure out why this thing's not running good because he wanted to save 10 cents a gallon on gas. So, there's so many stories, man. There's just so many stories of stuff these guys that came up in the Depression would do. It was just, it's freaking hysterical. You can't make this shit up. You cannot make this shit up. It's just, oh my God. So, that's our edition of Garage Talk Plaza today. So, I'll take it off the stand here and I can show you what I'm doing with this Honda generator. So, this thing, I think I'm going to have some luck putting an electric starter in it because I took it all apart. Just took the gas tank out now, so that's not an issue. There's no gas in the garage. It looks like it has a fuel pump here in there, but it's having trouble getting it fired on propane because I can't pull the recoil enough. So tomorrow, when I take it off the stand, I'll show you guys. So I'll take it off. And I'll show you what I did so far. So, let me get up now. So, let's see what we got here now. So, that's here now in America. So, let's see. Let's see. Okay, so we're still recording here. So, okay, so here's what I did so far. I took the gas tank out. The gas tank went here. My finger there. Gas tank went here. So, took all this out. There's the recoil here. I think once I can get the recoil off, take the cord off, get the recoil off, I'll be able to get to the crank nut. And once I get to the crank nut, I'll be able to figure out some way to get a Makita in there with an extension through all this rigmarole here. And then I'll be able to start it with the Makita drill tomorrow. So, wish me luck, kids. But I love doing this stuff. I love doing this stuff. So having a ton of fun doing it. So remember, like and subscribe.